idea that it could be in my house was just revolting.
That was a freaky looking thing, mouth full of teeth.
It scared the hell out of me.
We had the house of horror here.
I just wanted it out of my apartment.
I was shocked and panicking. They were spreading.
3 different families fighting 3 different infestations. Home is a sanctuary, but invaders don't respect boundaries. Our 4 walls provide all they need to survive, to thrive, and to multiply. And when they move in, home will never feel the same again. Alicia Hughes, her 9-year-old son Ryan, and her boyfriend John have just moved into a new apartment in San Antonio, Texas.
We were really excited about moving over here because it had great facilities, great surroundings for the children. It was very family friendly.
It seemed like a safe area. School is less than a mile away for our son, and the whole structure was new.
A month later, things start to change.
About an hour after I put him to bed, Ryan told me he was hearing something in his closet. It was keeping him awake. He wanted me to come and check it out for him, like a monster under the bed or something. I went to see what it was. And didn't see anything. But then you could hear the scratching and kind of scurrying through the wall.
At first, we really didn't know if it was squirrels.
And then you could hear like a chirping. That's when I thought, okay, this is getting kind of weird because squirrels don't make chirping noises. Maybe there's birds that are stuck down in the wall.
The noises subside.
And we didn't hear noises for a couple of days, so we thought whatever it was went away. It scared me half to death. All I could see was the hair. I thought, how would a possum get into our apartment?
That was a freaky looking thing. I'd never seen one up close before. I saw that mouth just opened up, full of teeth.
And that really, really freaked me out. I just wanted it out of my apartment.
John releases the opossum away from their building.
When I saw the second possum at this point, I was really freaked out.
Well, Alicia was very upset. She really didn't want to get off the couch.
Possums are opportunistic invaders of our homes. What they find appealing is a source of food, a source of warmth, and the source of safety that our homes provide them. A possum will take any advantage that it has to get into your house.
A few days go by quietly, so Alicia and John figure the incident was a one-time thing. But the noises start up again. This time, it seems like the sound is coming from inside the apartment walls.
That's when we put 2 and 2 together. Baby possums, they make a chirping noise.
They realize families of opossums are living inside their walls.
I was extremely shocked.
Nearly 1,500 miles away, in Oliphant, Pennsylvania, single mom Lisa and her 3 children are starting over. Life hasn't been easy.
My fiance had passed away. We were coming from a homeless shelter. We were all happy to get our own little spot, and it was a nice apartment.
Lisa is raising Kaylana, Lamar, and Cody on her own. It's tough, but the move marks a new beginning for them all.
When we moved in, we were all excited. Now we could focus on being a family and all the fun stuff that we could do.
Lamar has always wanted a pet, and now that the family has their own home, he gets his wish.
My neighbor's cat had 6 kittens, and to surprise my son, I went over and picked the kitten out. This was going to be our first pet.
A week after the kitten arrives, Lisa notices something about Lamar.
He was constantly scratching. He had a couple of bumps on his arm. They were red. I didn't change laundry soaps, room fresheners, or anything like that. The only new thing was our kitten. It had to be the kitten. And he was allergic to cats.
Lisa decides she has no choice but to give the kitten back to her friend.
It broke my son's heart, but he didn't want to sit there and keep scratching and itching, so the kitten went back.
Kaylana starts scratching too.
My oldest daughter is now getting the same thing. I knew there was something else going on.
That evening, Kaylana shows her mom something mysterious in her bedroom.
I went to check her bed, and you could see there's several bugs, brown, flat, little bugs. I didn't know if it was a beetle. I had no idea what they were. I just grabbed a couple and put them in a medicine bottle.
Lisa calls the county housing authority.
The manager came up and I told her, this is what I found in my daughter's room. The manager said, yeah, you have a problem.
The manager identifies them as bed bugs.
At that point, I didn't know what bed bugs were, but I realized my children were getting bit.
Lisa finds out that she's got a big problem.
A bedbug is a blood-feeding organism. They come out at night and they're going to feed on your blood, similar to, say, a vampire in old horror stories. They're an extremely successful species, and they're expanding quickly, not just through the US, but also throughout the world.
Bedbugs hunt out their next victim by detecting body heat and carbon dioxide in human breath.
They're going to sneak up and stick you with their mouth parts and then gorge themselves to many times their actual size.
The housing authority brings in exterminators to spray the apartment.
I figured just some spray and that'd be it. They'd be gone.
The family is given the all clear.
It was a big relief, knowing that my kids weren't going to be bit. We're not going to be scratching and digging.
Lisa's nightmare isn't over.
I was shocked and panicking. They weren't dying, they were spreading.
In San Antonio, Texas, opossums are living in the walls of the apartment Alicia Hughes shares with her young son Ryan and her boyfriend John. The family can't figure out how the opossums are getting in.
I was feeling very, very unsettled. I mean, it's not something that you want in your apartment or anywhere near you.
Alicia calls the management company. But after a search, they can't figure out how the animals are getting in either.
They couldn't really give me any kind of answers as what we should do except to watch very closely and listen for noises to see maybe where they were coming from.
John and Alicia are left to deal with the problem alone.
We started looking around, trying to find out where they were coming from, and for the life of me, I couldn't find it.
The noises were getting louder and more intense, but until we could find out where they were coming from, there wasn't a whole lot that we could do. I was looking stuff up on the internet to see what kind of diseases they carry, if they're vicious, things like that.
Alicia is in for a shock.
After waiting up late Wednesday night trying to capture the possum, Howard Clark went to bed. He thought his dog Princess was nibbling at him, but it wasn't Princess.
And before I could even get it out of bed, it snapped my ear.
The possum also sunk its teeth into Howard's neck.
That sent me over the edge. I'm the worrier. What if Ryan's coming down the hall in the middle of the night to get a drink? And he gets bit.
A cornered opossum can deliver a nasty bite.
Because opossums are scavengers and eat a very varied diet, their mouths are breeding grounds for a number of different bacteria, including E. coli.
The noises get louder. Alicia's worried more opossums are finding their way in.
I was feeling very violated, always on edge. The situation in our apartment started to escalate. It became an everyday thing that we were seeing them.
We didn't know where they were going to be next.
Alicia comes up with a plan.
I got my cat Chauncey from a friend.
Chauncey quickly becomes both a beloved pet and an effective deterrent.
He was catching possums on a regular basis. It was really crazy.
But over time, Chauncey is completely outnumbered. And there's a new problem.
We started noticing I was getting bitten, my son was getting bitten, John was. We would look down and there's fleas on our feet. It was disgusting and horrible to have flea bites on your arms and on your legs and just everywhere. It was gross.
Chauncey is on monthly flea prevention, so Alicia decides he can't be the cause.
It got so bad throughout the entire apartment that I realized it's got to be the possums.
Possums are one of the most heavily parasitized animals in North America. They're frequently host to large numbers of fleas and ticks, and both of those animals can carry their own myriad of diseases.
It was beyond frustrating because there was still nothing that we could do about it until we found out where the possums were coming from.
The family's nightmare infestation is about to get a lot worse. Gated communities are designed to keep out unwelcome intruders. That's what Jeff and Sonia Menning expected when they bought a home in an exclusive Southern California neighborhood.
This house was a dream home. It was just a perfect place to raise a family.
It was a very exciting time. My wife and I had been married for just a couple of years.
The $1 million investment is stretching them financially.
It was a step up. I was putting all my eggs into this one basket where I could raise my family. It was really a wonderful place to reside. One night we were making dinner. All of a sudden heard a noise. We had no idea what it was.
Initially, we thought something got stuck.
When the noise stops, the Mennings forget about it.
But there was definitely something up in that attic. We thought maybe a skunk or some other desert creature. I thought, what is going on here?
A few days went by and we didn't hear any more noise. We thought that we were in peace.
But a few nights later, the strange noises start again.
We kept hearing the scratching, like when teachers used to scratch their nails on chalkboards, kind of that eerie kind of scratching.
We didn't know what it was, but we knew something was living in our house besides just my family.
Jeff and Sonia hire a pest controller to investigate the attic. He finds nothing, but sets some traps as a precaution.
The pest control company told us they'd come back in 4 or 5 days to check the traps to see if there's anything been caught.
They don't have long to wait.
I heard a bang, a snap. One of their traps had gone off. And sure enough, we had caught what was making all that noise up there.
The culprit is a rat.
We were in complete shock. The idea that it could be in my house was just revolting.
The exterminator tells Jeff that the rodent is a black rat.
We have 2 predominant species, brown rats and black rats. Black rats are incredibly good climbers. They like to climb trees, telephone poles, they'll run down wires, they'll even jump 8 feet at a time to get into the attic or roof of your house.
I thought this was going to be the end of it.
JD, our 5-year-old, came into our room and he said, "There's some noise above my bed. I just can't sleep, Mom. I don't know what it is."
It was very disturbing because he was very shaken. He didn't know what was crawling around above his bed.
It's becoming clear the rat caught in their attic was not alone.
We would stand in all 4 corners and try to figure out if it was 1, if it was 2, if it was 3. And you definitely knew that there was a lot of rats up there.
In San Antonio, Texas, an invasion of opossums is tormenting Alicia, her son Ryan, and her boyfriend John.
It's taking its toll on me. I was very, very stressed that I just couldn't fix the problem at all. We couldn't find out where they were coming from.
And the opossums have brought another pest. Fleas.
Having fleas is the absolute worst. It's horrible. It is absolutely horrible. I called the management, but they said there wasn't a whole lot they could do about the fleas with the possums still here.
John does what he can and coats the apartment in flea powder. But they're fighting a losing battle. The opossums keep coming, bringing more fleas.
It was kind of like they owned the place.
We considered moving out several times. We started thinking of ways of how we could break the lease to leave, because it was so bad. But we had to take everything in consideration. The expenses of moving, then having to enroll Ryan in another school. We really didn't have a choice.
I didn't know what to do, but just keep cleaning and maybe they would go away. I looked down and there was a little butt going into a crevice of the dishwasher. That's when I finally realized that that's where they were coming from.
The hole beside the dishwasher is the opossum's entryway from inside the walls into the apartment.
I called John to tell him, now we can finally do something about it.
I was relieved. This is our kitchen. God knows that they've been crawling through our food or through our dishes or anything else.
Alicia calls the management company and demands they send someone to seal the hole and spray the apartment for fleas.
It was awesome. We finally had someone helping us. We thought, we don't have anything to worry about anymore. We were kind of, relaxed and getting back into the swing of things. Then, yet again, you could hear them chirping. Kind of like a very low chirp. I couldn't believe that they'd come back.
It's still a mystery how the opossums are getting into the walls, but at least they're not in the apartment.
About a week or so passed, and I remember going back and forth, washing clothes, and I kept smelling something. The smell was absolutely horrendous. It was just bad, really, really bad. I put my nose to the wall and realized that it's coming from within the walls.
The smell gets so bad, Alicia calls the management company again. The maintenance man cuts a hole in the wall and reveals a scene of horror.
Having dead animals in the wall was just horrifying. It was absolutely disgusting.
Somehow, the opossums are getting into the walls, but they can't get out. The management company takes a hard look at the apartment exterior and finds holes in the roof.
The possums were climbing up through the trees, getting into the attic, roaming my apartment through the walls. That's what was happening this entire time.
When the hole near the dishwasher was blocked, young opossums didn't have the strength to climb back out through the roof, so they got trapped and died.
While it's fairly uncommon for opossums to come in through a roof, they are excellent climbers, and if they see an access point, they're going to go in through it.
I felt kind of stupid because I thought, why didn't we think of the trees in the first place? After all of the holes in the roof were sealed up, the problem was solved, and all of us were beyond relieved, and we could finally relax in our own home.
I was very happy. Finally, we don't have to deal with this anymore.
Back in Oliphant, Pennsylvania, Lisa John's battle has only just begun. And she's quickly realizing that bedbugs are a formidable enemy. Despite exterminators spraying the entire apartment, the blood-sucking parasites are multiplying.
I thought after the exterminator sprayed, we were going to be done with it. To have the bed bugs coming out of the couch was devastating.
Bedbug infestations can be impossible to stop, like this one in Evansville, Indiana.
The more I found out, the more sickened I became. It scared the hell out of me.
Lisa calls the exterminators again.
They were spraying every 2 weeks.
It's obvious the treatments aren't working.
I kept watching my children every day wake up with bedbug bites and scratching and digging. It was beyond frustrating.
Bedbugs are really the ultimate pest. They're an extremely successful species. They tend to hide very well. And so just spraying pesticide around may not be an effective approach to bedbug control.
Lisa's willing to try anything to get rid of the bugs.
We had to launder everything on high heat. Their clothing was immediately washed. Bedding, pillows, everything. Washed and dried. And put directly into a Ziploc bag. Every single day.
But all her hard work has no impact. The bedbugs are thriving on her family's blood.
The infestation took hold so quickly and got so big that fast. Every night they're getting bit.
A female bedbug can lay 3 to 5 eggs a day and can also lay 300 to 500 eggs over the course of her lifetime. You can have thousands of bedbugs in a very short amount of time.
Drastic times call for drastic measures.
Lisa clears out everything that could harbor bedbugs.
The blankets, the sheets, the curtains, the carpet, all the mattresses I took out of my apartment and threw them away.
For a family with little money, it's a painful decision to make. They have to rely on neighbors to provide new bedding.
I wanted to do whatever I could do to hopefully have one morning where my kids didn't wake up bit. I purchased air mattresses because through the internet, it said that the bed bugs couldn't live on an air mattress.
Lisa is desperate for her new tactic to work.
I see a bed bug crawl right across my son's face. I couldn't believe it. I had done everything that I could think of.
With no reprieve from the bedbugs, Lisa contacts the housing authority again.
I let them know my children were still getting bit. The authority did switch extermination companies, and we started all over again. But there was no relief from the problem. It got worse. Every time they were spraying, it was worse and worse. I actually, at one point, said, "What are you using, sugar water?"
The least Lisa can do is make sure her family doesn't pass on their misery to others.
Once I knew how easy it can be to get bed bugs, I stopped my children from going in anyone's apartment. It was hard, but my children knew why. They knew. They did not want their friends itching and scratching and have their friends lose everything because of this bug.
With no money and no alternative place to go, they're trapped.
The house that we had high hopes for, and we're going to start anew, turned into our worst nightmare.
In Southern California, Jeff and Sonia Menning are sharing their $1 million home with rats.
It was so disgusting, just really, really gross.
I became very angry. Here I bought a beautiful house, and now I'm dealing with rats in my attic.
The rats are multiplying faster than they can be trapped.
We were catching more and more. The problem was not going away.
Rats are incredibly prolific breeders. They can have 5 to 8 litters per year, and a pair of rats and their children, within the course of a year, can produce up to 65,000 offspring.
Even with regular visits from the exterminator, Jeff is forced to remove some of the dead rats himself.
This job became very grim. The blood and guts splattered all over, tiptoeing around the area not to get it on my shoes so I wouldn't drag it back down into the house.
The rat population explodes. No matter how many are trapped, new ones are still getting in. The exterminator has no idea how. Because of the design of the roof, much of the attic space is inaccessible.
We inspected all around the entire house from top to bottom, looking for any openings where a rat might have been able to get in, and we couldn't find them.
Rats are amazing. They can squeeze into any area the size of a quarter. Any crevice, air vent, chimney, or any other access point is going to be where the rats are going to get into your house.
Typically, if rats are coming into a building, they'll leave droppings near their point of entry.
But we had no rat droppings around the foundation of the house, which kind of raised our eyebrows.
To cover all bases, they shift focus to the palm trees overhanging the house.
We thought if this would work, we'll cut the tree down. We'll do whatever it takes to have this stop.
Now that the access route is removed, they step up their efforts to kill the remaining rats.
I felt like our lives were going to come back to normal.
Even with the trees gone, the rats are still managing to get inside the attic.
It became very desperate. The mystery was just really overwhelming. We had no idea how the rats were entering into the attic. Not only were they making all the noise at night, but they started to become active during the day.
And Sonia is worried for her family.
I was paranoid that one might slip down, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's where our food is, that's disgusting.
As the noises get worse, the Mennings' problem is impossible to hide.
People would come by and I would be embarrassed because I'd have this scratching up in the ceiling, in the hallway, in the guest bathroom. You didn't know when it was gonna happen. We were extremely upset that we had to stop having people over.
Their $1 million home becomes intolerable. It's beginning to stink.
There was the stench. It's just this terrible, terrible, horrific odor, like an animal that had urinated in the carpet and had not been cleaned.
It was very hard to live in this house during that time. A beautiful, large home that I'd planned on raising my family in. You just didn't really want to spend a lot of time in it.
The rats continue to wreak havoc.
All of a sudden, we see a wet spot in my son's room on the ceiling. One of the exterminators had said that when rats are nesting, they urinate to mark their area. We could not believe it. We were in complete shock.
Rat feces and urine is filled with all kinds of diseases. One of the major ones that rats can carry is leptospirosis, a bacterial infection that in humans can ultimately cause kidney and liver failure.
My worst fears were we going to be infected in one way or another? Were we going to get sick?
It's no longer safe for JD to sleep in his own room.
Poor guy, he had his nice room and with all his stuff, but yet he was sleeping in our room. And it made me feel terrible.
The family is pushed to the breaking point.
It became a nightly occurrence where we'd be awakened by the scratching and the clawing and the squealing. All of us would be up at night, and we're literally going insane.
The sounds indicate the rats have now moved into the walls.
I was using a baseball bat to bang on the walls. They didn't care. They would not quiet down. We had the house of horror here.
In Oliphant, Pennsylvania, a family is besieged by bedbugs. Lisa John has tried months of chemical sprays, thrown out most of her furniture, but the bedbugs remain unbeaten.
They went from one bed in one bedroom to the bed bugs exploding everywhere. It got so bad that I actually thought being homeless would be better. I decided we were not going to spend another night in the apartment. I couldn't afford a hotel. We couldn't go anywhere in fear of taking bed bugs with us and infesting somebody else.
Lisa decides their only option is to sleep outside in a tent.
It may sound crazy, but my kids weren't gonna get bit.
Lisa is also hoping this drastic action will attract attention.
I knew by putting the tent in the yard and informing the housing authority that I did so, we're certainly going to ruffle some feathers. And after spending the weekend in a tent, the housing authority said that they were going to try a new treatment, a heat treatment.
This treatment costs $1,500, a price Lisa could never have afforded herself.
I was praying that these bugs would be fried. Like they would be in mid-run and just catch on fire and burn up. When I returned to the apartment after the heat treatment was over, I was nervous about walking in. I didn't find any bed bugs, but I didn't put all my faith in that. I've been told so much from so many different people that I'm not holding much stock in it.
Lisa knows there's only one way to find out if the bedbugs have gone. Risk a night in the family home. The next morning, the results are in.
Having my kids wake up and not be digging, scratching. Mom, I didn't get bit. I think it worked. Great, great day.
The family gets on with making their new start without any unwanted house guests. Lisa can enjoy all the things a mother does, except maybe one.
I will never, ever tell my kids, night-night, don't let the bed bugs bite. Never.
Back in Southern California, the Menning family is still being tortured. A never-ending tide of black rats has taken over their attic.
You really do feel absolutely violated. It's disgusting to think about.
The rats are clawing through the walls and ceilings of their beautiful home.
Did I think about selling the house and moving out of here? Yes, I would have loved to have done that, but who in their right mind is going to buy a home when it's infested with rats? No one. They became louder. The clawing was endless. Even during the day, you could hear them trying to scratch through the ceiling. It just got worse and worse.
So far, attempts to trap the rats and take away their access have failed.
We were so frustrated. We didn't know what to do. How could this be happening?
I started to lose my mind. I was battling these demons, not only physically, but mentally. And at one point, I think they won for a while. I wanted to figure out why the rats were here and get rid of them.
Most of the rat activity appears to be above their son's bedroom in an area of the attic that's inaccessible. Rat urine is soaking through the ceiling and causing the house to stink.
That was an area where the rats had continued to claw viciously. The ceiling had become so thin and moist that I was able to put my finger through it. The only way I was going to figure out where these rats were coming from was to tear down the entire ceiling.
With portions of the ceiling torn down, the exterminator can now reach the entire attic space. At the far end, he discovers an unusual open pipe.
Something was not right with that pipe. It did not belong there the way it looked.
The exterminator thinks he may have found the rat's entry point. He sets up an experiment.
He said if the rats were entering through that pipe, they would knock that piece of insulation out. It was a moment where I thought, maybe, just maybe, this might be the cause of our problems.
The next day, they get their answer.
When we saw the insulation had been popped out, it was a moment of relief. It was a moment of tears. We had discovered where those rats were coming from.
The pipe is a vent designed to release methane gas from a sewer main. It should have extended to the outside of the roof. For months, rats have been using the open pipe as a route into the Mennings' attic.
It was literally a freeway from the sewer under the street, up my yard, under my grass, and into my house.
The pipe is rerouted, and all the remaining rats are trapped. Finally, after months of torture, the problem is solved.
It did take a toll on us, and when I think back at what we went through, I don't wish this upon my worst enemy. It's nice to have my dream house back.
When pests take over a home, life is put on hold. And unfortunately, our modern lifestyles will continue to attract them.
We spend a lot of our lives making our homes safe, warm, and comfortable. And it's exactly these qualities that pests are attracted to.